What's up, guys? Welcome back. Look, one of our Monk Mode members, Sajil, asked me a question, and it's such a great question. Here it is. He said, I used to have the mentality of I could do whatever the hell I wanted, and I would still succeed. Pretty much whatever he puts his mind to, he would succeed. And he says, nowadays, about 2 years later, I'm starting to have a lot of doubts. I feel like my intellect isn't up to par. My abilities aren't good enough. I feel like I'm not going to make it. That's a tough place to be in. It's very difficult to think that you once were almost Superman. To realize that you're not Superman, that's a hell of a realization. I think that just comes about naturally as you get out of your youth. As you leave your teens behind, you get older, you experience life, you realize life is pretty rugged. It's intense, man. It's ruthless, and it'll beat you down if you let it. So this is what I've come up with. Whenever we first set out on a journey or we decide we want to start something new, we're always very optimistic at the start. And we have to be. Naturally, we have to be, or else we wouldn't start it. None of us really are looking down the road, a year, 2 years, 3 years, the amount of sacrifice, the amount of discomfort, the amount of work that we're going to get ourselves into by starting something new and by becoming successful at that thing. This could be whatever, okay? Whatever you want. The unknown show up, man. In the middle of it, in the battles, when you find yourself, oh man, why did I get myself into this? Any ounce of narcissism that you had in the past just gets walloped away. All right? You're like, holy shit, man, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. This is where a lot of people fall down. A lot of people quit. Sometimes it's necessary to quit. Sometimes our irrational optimism is keeping us on this path when really we should just lay it down, honestly. Here's the thing. I believe that we have to find purpose, a single purpose, and then go for that and see it done. That's it. We have to, once you come up with a purpose, and it can be anything. It could be spiritual, it could be worldly, it can be, I want to make money. I want to have this much money. I want to have wealth to be able to support myself for the first time in my life. Or it could be spiritual. I want to have peace of mind. Maybe I have the money. Maybe it could be something that's simple. I want to start a family. Maybe it could be, I want to be a doctor. And then you go to school and you become a doctor. And then once you have your purpose, now your mind's always focused on that thing. Every day that you wake up. For instance, if you've ever been into bodybuilding, it's very addictive. You will focus on bodybuilding. When it comes to eating, you're thinking about, how do I make myself better? Single mind purpose. When you're in the gym, how do I make myself better? You make sure to get your sleep. Everything else comes second. The same thing once you find your purpose in life. Everything else is now coming second. Now your thoughts are going, okay, how can I do this better? How can I stick to how can I study? I'm becoming a doctor. This is my purpose. How do I study now, make time to study, and not get absorbed in the drinking and the friends wanting to go out? This is more important. So now this is become your single train of thought. And the days are, obviously not every waking second you're going to be thinking about this. But it's on your mind every day. Okay? And you see it through. I think that's the only way, man. Because there's going to be a lot of the trials and the tribulations, and by you overcoming that, it lets you have this self-discipline, and it gives you this fortitude, so that whenever there's other challenges, you already know what you're capable of. But as we go, if we just start stuff and we have this over optimism and we haven't done anything, that's just like a sort of deep-rooted narcissism. So to have the purpose, to be able to see it through, here's the thing. Once we're in the thick of it, I believe that we need to ask ourselves, in what ways am I slacking? In what ways am I shirking off my work? It could be little things, but things that you know you're supposed to be doing that you're not doing. Things that have to be done in order for you to see this thing all the way through, in order for you to succeed. What ends up happening is when you're in the midst of it all, I've noticed this, is that comforts become very enticing. It becomes easier to drink. If you're not fully committed, if you're having doubts, it becomes easier to drink. It becomes easier to be a glutton, to eat food that you shouldn't be eating. It becomes easier to be aimless. Aimlessness can be a vice in itself. It becomes very enticing to get pulled. Love is very seductive. When you go and you visit that girl and you're in her arms, man, you're having sex and everything's comfortable. This sounds very, you could say this sounds just like, the fuck is he talking about? I'm saying, yeah, try doing that. Try having sex and, enjoying yourself and eating food and having wine and then leaving and walking out into the snow and feeling the frigid cold. It's like taking a warm shower and then jumping into a freezing cold shower. It's a complete shock to the body. And when we're in this, our body is very receptive to making comfort the new addiction, to leaving everything behind for the seduction of comfort. It is pretty much the sirens that Odysseus and his men were hearing, calling, and everyone that had heard had been shipwrecked because they went in and these sirens were so beautiful sounding and they would go to it, they were seduced, and they would be crash upon the shore. And so you have to be shrewd in these endeavors, man. What did Odysseus end up doing? He said to his shipmates, plug your ears with beeswax and continue to row very close to where the sirens are. I want to see them, but tie me to the mast. He tied himself to his mast, the mast. He left his ears unplugged, and he had the rowers row very close to the shore. And he was the first man to be able to see it because he could hear them, but he used his he was astute. He was smart about it. All right? It's very seductive, man. You start gambling more. There's drugs become more seductive. It's all there waiting for you. It's the fucking candy land, dude. It's the pleasure city. All right? And this is what happens in the middle of it. In the beginning, we don't think about this stuff. We don't think about how difficult it's going to be. How the unknowns are going to pop up. Things we never thought about. Things you never thought about are going to show up. But if you can develop a clear enough purpose, man, clear enough and attainable enough, you can do this. And if it's in your thoughts, like you got to take complete responsibility, it's going to drive you nuts sometimes, but it can be done. Making enough money can be done. All right? Becoming a doctor, becoming an engineer, going through school may suck now. Your postgraduate, it fucking sucks getting up early in the morning, but it can be done. And you know that if you just did this certain amount of things, you would do it. And it would make you it would put you to a better place in your life. It would make you happier. You know what can be done. You know what's attainable. Define it. Have something that you can aim at, dude. Because without that, then what's the point of waking up in the morning? Then you just have anxieties and stress and fear of loss, and there's just so nagging insecurities. If you got nothing to aim at, dude, it's a terrible place to be. And if you're there, and at least maybe you got a job, do what you can at your job. Do the best with what you got now, and begin to think about this. Take out a piece of paper and just begin to think about it. What can I do? What? Yeah, listen, I'm not saying you're here for a reason. I'm not saying God created you for a purpose. He put you on earth and he's like, listen, Jimmy, you need to do this and that. You need to become the president. You need to become the mayor. All right? It's easier to say we just want to be these things Listen, think deeply. What do you care about? You want to help people? That could be your purpose. Get started. How would you start helping people? Well, look at all the opportunities that you have to help people. Okay? If you want to create great works of art, that could be your purpose. Get started on your art. What are you waiting for? You want to write a book? Get started writing books. And you know what? When no one reads your fucking books, keep writing. Find new ways to share the books. Find ways to get up in the morning when you're most inspired. Stop shirking your work off. Pull out the typewriter, the computer, start writing. You want to lose weight? Don't wait for the new year. Easy. You know what to do, man. We all know it. We got to stop shirking off our work. All right? And we get our minds right by, this is my responsibility. Then once you got the purpose, there's no tug of war in your brain. You're not constant. It's just, I'm going to see it through, man. I'm going to see it through. And that's that. How beautiful it will be. But we keep going. Single purpose in mind. All right? I'll see you guys soon. Peace.